Krabs is,
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth?
well, sometimes, but not recently.
Censorship has woven itself into the very tapestry of our society, often masquerading as a protective shield against harmful, sensitive, or misinformed content. In the US, the topic has become a hotbed of debate, with advocates from both ends of the ideological spectrum expressing either support or opposition to its expansion. Curiously, as the discussion unfolds, both camps sometimes present views that seem to contradict their own stances. In this episode, we'll delve into the motivations behind the US and other nations' growing inclination towards censorship and explore its implications for the future of free speech, information dissemination, and access to resources. But before we get into it, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to be part of our growing community of critical thinkers. If you want to stay updated on all our critical topics, hit the notification bell to stay informed. Now that we got that shit out of the way, let's take a critical look at censorship. From the moment humans harness language to share and spread unconventional ideas, especially those opposing the dominant beliefs or the prevailing authority, there have been attempts to suppress or deter such expressions. One of the earliest known acts of censorship is traced back to the Qin dynasty in ancient China. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, orchestrated the burning of books and the execution of scholars to consolidate and perpetuate his regime's ideology. Similarly, in 399 BC, Socrates faced a death sentence by consuming poison due to his radical ideas, deemed perilous and corrupting for Athenian youth. While he was officially accused of corrupting the young and impiety, it's worth noting Socrates' skepticism towards democracy's efficacy. He believed not in the wisdom of the masses, but in the expertise and knowledge of a select few. He was an advocate of oligarchic rule, a sentiment that eerily echoes certain modern scenarios. Fast forward to the 20th and 21st century, governments have enforced a level of censorship upon the public to drive narratives or ideologies and force power away from oppositions. The rise of the internet has fundamentally changed the landscape of censorship. While it has democratized the dissemination of information, it has also given rise to digital censorship, surveillance, and the phenomenon of fake news. Countries like China have established comprehensive internet censorship mechanisms. In various parts of the world, blasphemy laws or hate speech regulations can be used as grounds for censorship on digital platforms. Throughout history, censorship has often been justified as a means to protect societal values, national security, or public morality. However, its implementation has frequently been a tool for those in power to suppress dissent, control information, and maintain authority. The ongoing challenge is finding a balance between protecting societal interests and upholding freedom of expression. Imagine leading a nation teeming with diverse thoughts, ideologies, and beliefs. As its leader, you're tasked with ensuring stability, offering direction, and crafting a promising path ahead. But the vast range of opinions and perspectives make governance a balancing act with constant shifts to cater to the myriad of voices. To simplify governance, you choose to shape the public discourse. Rather than letting populists steer the narrative, you craft one that resonates with those more susceptible to influence. By keeping the general population at a certain level of awareness, they become more receptive to the narratives you present. This strategy also means that anyone who deviates from this mainstream narrative is easily labeled as a radical or even a criminal. Historical instances like Nazi Germany, the events at Tiananmen Square, the apartheid era, and the modern-day phenomenon of global internet censorship exemplify how those in power can manipulate narratives, often under the pretense of safeguarding citizens. Fear, after all, is a potent tool, especially for those more inclined towards emotional responses than critical analysis. Governments often censor critical voices, including journalists, academics, and activists. By controlling or silencing these voices, the state prevents the spread of ideas that might challenge or undermine its authority. Many authoritarian regimes own or directly control media outlets, ensuring that only state-approved narratives are disseminated. In cases where the media is not state-owned, governments might exert pressure or use intimidation tactics to influence coverage. With the rise of the internet, many governments have found it necessary to control this new medium. This can be achieved through the blocking of specific websites, especially social media platforms that facilitate collective action or enable the spread of uncontrolled information. The Great Firewall of China is a notable example. Governments might ban certain books, films, music, or art that they deem threatening or contrary to the state's ideals. This ensures that only culture in line with state values is consumed. Knowing that one is being watched can lead to self-censorship. Many governments use surveillance tools to monitor their citizens, creating an environment where individuals are wary of expressing dissenting views or engaging in actions that might be seen as against the state. As we reflect on the lengths to which governments have gone to curate and control narratives, it becomes abundantly clear that the balance between governance and freedom is delicate. In an era where information is both a tool and a weapon, it is crucial for societies to champion transparency, foster open dialogue, and continually question the narratives presented to them. Only through vigilance and conscious effort can we safeguard the essence of democracy and ensure that voices, in all of their diverse forms, are heard and valued. Building on this, it's worth examining the limitations and pitfalls of censorship itself. While it may offer a facade of control and stability, overreach can inadvertently stifle innovation, breed mistrust, and suppress the very essence of human expression. How then do we navigate this tightrope, ensuring that while certain harmful narratives are curbed, the free spirit of inquiry and expression remains unhindered? Every piece of publicly available content, whether it's an advertisement, news article, movie, game, TV show, or any other media, undergoes a strict scrutiny process governed by certain powers that decide what consumers can access. The golden era of unbridled freedom of speech and expression seems to be behind us. Governments have fostered an environment where overt censorship isn't always necessary because individuals now often self-censor or censor their peers. When there's disagreement over what should be censored, some resort to using social media and online communities as tools for intimidation, doxing, or canceling those with opposing views. The desire to exert control over others' words and actions has turned into a compelling urge for many, perhaps appealing to deep-seated egotistic tendencies. As we advance, the erosion of these freedoms becomes more pronounced, pushing us to determine the boundaries of such controls, both on small and large scales. In the age of the digital revolution, where information dissemination is instantaneous, self-censorship has become an increasingly common practice. The omnipresent fear of offending someone or being at the receiving end of an online backlash encourages many to withhold opinions, moderate their tone, or entirely avoid certain topics. This self-imposed silence is often more potent than any state-mandated censorship could ever be. It's a chilling effect on discourse where individuals preemptively mute themselves, fearing repercussions not from authoritative bodies, but from peers and digital communities. Digital platforms, hailed as democratizers of speech, paradoxically have become battlegrounds of ideological warfare. On one hand, they offer everyone a voice. On the other, they've become tools to amplify echo chambers and ostracize dissenting views. Platforms, under public and governmental pressure, walk a tightrope, trying to balance open discourse with content moderation. But the bigger challenge arises when users weaponize these platforms to silence others, equating disagreement with harm and divergent views with threats. The ambiguity of moderation policies often plays into this, allowing for exploitation by those who are louder or more influential. In the evolving landscape of communication, finding equilibrium is imperative. While there is a legitimate need to combat harmful ideologies, misinformation, and genuine threats, it's crucial not to conflate these with mere differences in perspective. The goal should be fostering a culture of understanding and dialogue, rather than one of cancellation and suppression. This calls for a collective reflection on society's part to differentiate between shielding ourselves from harm and barricading against contrasting ideas. In seeking protection, society must ensure it isn't stifling the very essence of democratic discourse, the freedom to agree, disagree, debate, and evolve. Navigating the intricacies of censorship requires a balance between upholding democratic values and ensuring societal harmony. To explore the limitations of censorship in a constructive manner, societies must first acknowledge the difference between free speech and hate speech, understanding that while everyone has the right to voice their opinion, it shouldn't incite violence or propagate misinformation. Initiatives like open forums and debates can be established where citizens can engage in structured dialogues about content that is considered borderline, offering a platform for diverse perspectives to be heard. Furthermore, educational institutions can introduce curricula focusing on media literacy, enabling individuals to critically evaluate information. Digital platforms can be more transparent about their content moderation policies and provide users with clearer rationales when content is flagged or removed. By creating review bodies comprised of individuals from varied backgrounds, these platforms can ensure that decisions on content restrictions are unbiased and considerate of diverse viewpoints. Additionally, public consultations on proposed media regulations can ensure that any legislation regarding censorship is formulated with collective input. Through these methods, society can foster an environment that respects freedom of expression, while being mindful of its potential repercussions. Citizens and governments can collaboratively curb censorship while upholding democratic discourse by fostering a mutual trust and open communication channel. Governments can establish transparent guidelines that clearly define harmful content without stifling legitimate political debate, while also creating independent oversight bodies to ensure unbiased media operations. Citizens, on their part, can engage in constructive dialogues, respect diverse viewpoints, and prioritize fact-based discussions. Moreover, both parties can champion media literacy initiatives, equipping individuals with the tools to discern credible information from falsehoods. Through joint efforts, a harmonious balance between limiting undue censorship and preserving democratic values can be achieved. But what are your thoughts? Do you think society has gone too far in its attempt to control narratives and censorship, or have we not gone far enough? What do you think can be done to find a middle ground? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Every view is greatly appreciated, but having healthy, open discourse is always welcomed. Catch you all in the next video. That's it for today's episode of Critically Speaking. Thanks for joining us as we explore the latest movies, games, and hot topics. Stay up to date with our latest content by hitting that notification bell. And if you enjoyed the show, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And as always, stay critical.